But where I want to start this conversation with is with Juventus themselves, because last week we talked about it's the front three. He's not getting that right. Now I'm kind of changing where my standpoint is. Is it totally the formation? Is it tactically? Is everything even right? And that's where I'm going to go to you, Mats, because what does need to change? Because everything has kind of gone right in a way for them. They beat Inter Milan at home. Like, you tied Milan, not really the end of the world, but something isn't right. And that is what we keep going back to with Juventus.
Yeah, 100%. I think the shout of maybe a new formation is a good shout. It seems like Tudor has flexibility, but he's not willing. The one area where he's not willing to be flexible is this 4-3-2-1. I think that in most games we get overran in the midfield because we're only playing a two-man midfield, and Locatelli has to drop so far back because Kelly, Bremer when he's in with Rugani too, Gatti, Kalulu, none of them are very good on the ball or necessarily are looking to have the ball at their feet. So Locatelli has to drop back and go receive the ball. And then that now we have one guy in the midfield, right? Or sometimes Cambiaso will tuck himself in. Kelly will go further out. But Cambiaso, he's too lackadaisical and dribble heavy to be in the midfield. He does not like to do the 1-2 quick passes. So I don't love him tucking in. So I do want to go to a new formation. I would prefer the 4-3-3. I think we have the players to do it. I think we have the depth to do it. Have I seen any reports on them thinking about it? No. Do I think it will be beneficial for them? Yes, but I don't know if we're going to see that anytime soon.
I think the other thing that really shone through in this game in particular was, and I don't want to knock Conceição here. I thought he actually had a great game for the minutes that he put in, but it's just
I thought
so
he was the
very
best
clear.
player on the pitch, to be honest with you.
No, 100%. That's why I don't want to knock him at all. I'm just saying that clearly they need Yildiz to run the offense. They need Yildiz to make an impact on a game-by-game basis for them to actually make chances, get chances going, quality chances, that is. And, Tomori, for what it's worth, had a great game here. I think it's a ton of team defense that went into the effort to shut off Yildiz, but this is kind of where he still has that progression to make as the number 10, as the star boy, as the best player here on Juventus. And that's to always be able to find a way to make an impact. He needs to be able to figure out what part of the game he's going to attack and make sure that he is being pointed in that direction. Now, I don't think Milan's low block this game worked wonders, worked to a T. Of course, that's what they were going for, that 0-0 draw away. That's Allegri special. If this is not going to be the only time that Juve faces a low block, Juve is going to be the better team in a lot of these games that they play in Serie A and maybe even other competitions. He just needs to find a way, because he was incredibly quiet and out of this game. From my standpoint.
I think the thing that's difficult about Yildiz is that he's not like a Nico Paz, where like he can just kind of pick a place on the field and like, okay, I'm not having success here, let me go over here. Yildiz is getting the ball in really specific situations, and I think part of it is, yes, like you always need him to step up, but I wrote about this actually. They need another guy on the team that can take some of that pressure off, because Yildiz, as good as he is, isn't a guy that is really capable of just completely taking games over. He's capable of having big moments in games, but he's not a completely takeover, I can do everything kind of player. And I think Tudor is kind of seeing him as that, as like, Yildiz will just figure it out for us. And I don't think that's the recipe.
100%. And he's done it to an extent, but he can only do so much. Once again, he's a 20-year-old player. He still has a lot to learn, a lot more growth that is going to come in his game right now. And I would say that this is the case for most people in the world. If you throw 3 men at a guy, he's not going to be able to get by 3 men. So it has to come from somebody else. And I don't think that's a huge ask where, hey guys, I have 3 guys on me. I'm laying it off. Make a quick 1-2, create something off of the attention that I'm getting. And that right now is what we're missing. Jonathan David, can he create the 1-2? Yes, but right now he's lacking the end product, the execution in the final third. He missed an open net goal in the Champions League against Villarreal. He lost his footing on a very good opportunity in the box against Milan. So he's still trying to figure out the league. I don't want Juventus fans to kill him right away, because this is what happens when you join a new league. Conceição, whereas he was great, he wants to do one thing, and it's he needs to slow the game down, take his man on one or 2-on-1, go to the byline or cut in. What we need in this exact situation is quick 1-2, give and go, pass around the low block. You can't really dribble by or take on a man in the low block because you just run into the next man. To get through a low block, you need to be good in tight spaces, quick 1-2, know where my guy is on the flick. And that's what we're missing right now. And the only striker that can do it is Jonathan David. He's lacking the end product, though. Dusan can't do that. Openda can't do it. Conte Sao wants to, like I said, just dribble and take on his man. Zagrova, kind of the same thing. So that's what we're lacking is the classic 1-2 chemistry that we have in the final third.
I think part of the problem that they've been running into is that, like, to create those effective 1-2s, you need to create overloads somehow. And I think a big part of the issue with Juve is Cambiasso and Kalulu have been pretty much not contributing offensively. And
well, Kalulu can
for
barely
Kalulu,
contribute.
that's not his fault. Like, right, like, you know what Kalulu is. He's more of a right back or a center back. Cambiasso, I think, needs to get benched, like, because he's been so bad and not effective. But like what I was saying earlier, I think the solution now is go to the 4-3-3 and add another midfielder, because the other way you can kind of create these overloads is allowing another midfielder to make late runs into the box. And I think that would help in a lot of cases. Like in this game, we saw Weston McKennie be very dangerous, although he didn't have any clear-cut chances, I wouldn't say. But him making those late runs into the box was very effective. The problem with that is when you're running a two-man midfield, you can't have two guys do it. And Locatelli never does it because that's not really what his thing is. And I think Locatelli has been exceptional all year, but the position he's playing kind of calls for two more midfielders to be playing ahead of him. And I think what Tudor is probably reluctant to do is play a back four because he doesn't really trust Gatti and Bremer to do it. And I think that with how highly everybody rates Bremer, you have to try. And I think he hasn't been great in back twos before, but I think if you're going to say he's as good as he is, he has to be able to do that. And I think we're getting close to the point where Tudor either needs to take that risk or his job is going to be on the line.
I think his job is getting on the line already. I see a lot of Juventus fans on Twitter calling for his job. I think that they're doing that because it's more of the same under Mata, being that Juventus just draws every game again. And then it's also what he has working against him at every time, no matter which way he turns, is he's never been at a club like this before, right? He's always been at a lower level club fighting relegation. He's never been at a top level club. So he doesn't necessarily, he might have played here, but he's never coached it. So people want a coach that has kind of been there and done that. So Tudor, every kind of stumble is amplified and magnified because he doesn't have necessarily the pedigree of a history. So I do think that his job, we tie a couple more games in a row or drop more points, people could be calling for his head very quickly.